I think I just realized why Red never speaks. And no, it's not because he's a silent protagonist. I think he might be being mind-controlled by Mewtwo. I also came up with 2 other Pokemon conspiracy theories that are somehow even more unhinged than that. I mean, these 3 things just make sense to me, because either I'm a genius or I'm just a little cooked in the head. But regardless of how well done my brainium may or may not be, one of these things might actually be provably real. Like, there's evidence in the games and in real life. Like, unfortunately, it does involve the death of 7 real people. But first, Red is totally being puppeted by Mewtwo. I mean, think about it. Come on, really think about it. Mewtwo is this genetically engineered psychic Pokemon created by the Team Rocket scientists, right? And he is pissed off about being experimented on, which, fair enough, I'd be mad too if someone made me in a lab without my consent and then tried to control me. Like, I was made in someone's womb without my consent, but at least nobody's trying to control me, I think. So if someone literally created me to be their slave like Mewtwo was, I'd be bloody livid. But here's the thing, Mewtwo doesn't just escape and disappear, he sets up shop in Cerulean Cave and just waits. For what exactly? For Red, obviously. Red shows up at this cave after becoming the champion and dismantling Team Rocket's entire operation, and Mewtwo is just sitting there like he knew Red was coming. Because he knew Red was coming. Because Red had been his puppet the entire time. Think about how Red acts in the game. The kid does not talk. He just nods and does whatever people tell him to do. What 10-year-old actually acts like that? Actually does what they're told? What kid just wanders around the country and fights crime syndicates? But you know what? Let me come back to that one in a minute, because I kind of want to talk about something that's been bothering me even more, and then I promise I'll explain exactly how Mewtwo is controlling Red. Garyoke is wearing a wig, and I think he's hiding male pattern baldness. Please, please, please hear me out. Don't click off the video. I have thought about this way too much. Well, maybe like for 5 minutes, which is still a lot of time to think about a fictional 10-year-old's hair situation. I'm not proud of it, but I did it anyway. Garyoke is a 10-year-old and he's already showing signs of overcompensation. Think about his personality. He's cocky, he's arrogant, he constantly puts Ash down, and he's obsessed with being better than everyone else. And you know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like a bold man trying to prove he's still got it, like every dude who buys a sports car when he's 40, except Gary's 10 and he actually does have a sports car. Why does he have a sports car? Stay on topic. Stick to the things that actually matter. Garyoke is going through male pattern baldness, and he's handling it really poorly. There's nothing wrong with being bald. I mean, like, it's just a different look, but Gary's ego apparently just can't handle it. And here is the real, solid, hard evidence. Gary's hair never moves. It's always perfectly styled, even after battles, after traveling through caves and forests, even after putting on a baseball helmet. His hair looks the exact same in every situation, because it's not real hair, it's a wig, and he's terrified that someone will find out. Think about every other character in the game. Their hair moves, it gets messy, it changes based on what they're doing, but not Gary. Gary's hair is frozen in place because it's attached to his scalp with wig glue. Garyoke is bald and he's wearing a wig, and his entire personality is built around hiding this fact from the world, and I will die on this hill. Now back to Red being mind controlled by Mewtwo, because I promised I'd explain how this works, and I always keep my promises. Mewtwo has canonically demonstrated mind control abilities. We see it in the movie. He takes over Nurse Joy like it's nothing. And that's a medical professional and an adult, an intelligent, fully developed brain. You think a literal child is beyond our Siamese cat, Professor X? Now, we all know the story. A blah blah blah, Team Rocket created Mewtwo. A blah blah blah, treated as a weapon. Blah blah blah, Giovanni daddy issues. Chuck in the trauma of a literal dead child, and you may have created a bit more than a psychic dolly. Mewtwo escaped, but instead of just going on a rampage, he realized he needed a more sophisticated revenge. So he found this 10-year-old kid who was just starting his Pokemon journey, and he planted himself in Red's mind. Puppet master stuff. Now, Mewtwo guides Red's decisions, makes him unnaturally good at battling, and most importantly, drives him to systematically destroy Team Rocket. Red doesn't even know he's being influenced. He thinks he's just really good at this stuff, the poor, naive, ignorant child. He's really actually just got a genetically engineered psychic cat whispering battle strategies in his ear in the form of meows. And it explains everything about Red's behavior. Why doesn't he talk? Because Mewtwo is filtering his thoughts, making sure he doesn't say anything that might reveal the plan. Why is he so good at battling? Because Mewtwo is feeding him information telepathically like a vibrator at a chess tournament. Now, Red becomes the champion. He gets access to everything, and then he finally meets Mewtwo in Cerulean Cave. And now, of course, after all that, it's time for the final phase of the plan. Apparently, he's just standing at the peak of Mount Silver, which kind of makes sense. I'd probably have a meltdown and want to get to the top of the tallest thing possible if I found out that Test Tube Garfield was controlling me too. And yes, potentially that Red theory might just be me overthinking things, as usual. But this final theory, though, ooh-wee. This one actually has evidence, and it's gonna blow your pixelated minds. Okay, how do I begin? So there's this space shuttle in Pewter City in the original games, and it's labeled Space Shuttle Columbia. Now, in our real-life universe, yes, real-life universe, Space Shuttle Columbia was a real ship that exploded in 2003 upon re-entry right over Texas. And sadly, all 7 astronauts on board died. It was a tragedy. It shook NASA and the whole space program. It was genuinely horrible. But why does Pewter City have the remains of the space shuttle 7 years before the actual incident occurred? What if it actually didn't break apart? And what if we actually saw Columbia not exploding, but going through a wormhole and being transported to the Pokemon world? I mean, this would honestly explain so much about the Pokemon world. Like, why are there references to real countries? Like South America and Russia? And why is Lieutenant Surge called the American when there's clearly Unova? Why isn't he the Unovan? I mean, we've got Unova right over there. Why the American? Like, the Pokemon world isn't an alternate dimension. It's a parallel universe. It's close enough to ours that space travel can actually bridge the gap, like it's right next door, cosmically speaking. Columbia was humanity's first contact with the Pokemon world. They hit a wormhole during what was supposed to be a routine mission, and boom, they were lost. So there you have it. Red is mind-controlled by Mewtwo, Gary is bold, and the Space Shuttle Columbia isekai'd itself into Pokemon. Subscribe and like. And apparently you can hype videos now, so do that, please? Yeah, new videos every week.